One morning in rural Zimbabwe, 62 schoolchildren came back from recess, shaken, insisting they'd seen something extraordinary beyond the schoolyard. Their accounts were eerily similar, yet the details defied explanation. What they described that day in 1994 has since become one of the most debated events in UFO history, raising questions that linger decades later. On a quiet mid-morning in September 1994, a peculiar event disrupted the serene rhythm of a rural school in Zimbabwe. Over 60 children at the Ariel School in Rua, a small agricultural region outside the capital city of Harare, reported witnessing something extraordinary. A silver craft, described variously as a floating object or hovering disc, descended from the sky, landing in a field just beyond their playground. From the craft, strange beings emerged, dressed in black with large, piercing eyes. They communicated telepathically, warning the children about environmental degradation and the harm humans were inflicting on the planet. This strange episode has since become one of the most debated UFO cases in modern history. The story of the Ariel School UFO encounter has intrigued believers and skeptics alike. It's been described as compelling evidence of extraterrestrial visitation by the UFO community and dismissed as mass hysteria by skeptical academics. More than 2 decades later, it remains a potent mystery, hovering in the liminal space between fact and folklore. Rua in 1994 was a quiet crossroads of agricultural activity, dotted with farms and modest homes. Ariel School was an outlier in the area, a private institution for the children of affluent families, mostly white Zimbabweans with ties to Harare. The school's well-maintained grounds and extracurricular offerings, from swimming pools to tennis courts, reflected its prestige. It was a place of privilege, but on the morning of September 16th, something shattered the ordinary routines of this insulated environment. It was during a mid-morning recess that 62 children aged 6 to 12 experienced what they later described as an encounter with the unexplainable. According to their accounts, the adult faculty were indoors attending a meeting, leaving the children to their games and chatter. That's when a group of them saw one or more silver objects descend from the sky and settle in a field just outside the schoolyard. The event unfolded over roughly 15 minutes, but its impact would resonate for decades. The children's descriptions varied in details but shared core elements. Some saw multiple discs, others only one. Most described humanoid figures dressed in black with long black hair and large elongated eyes. The beings, the children claimed, communicated telepathically. The message? A warning about humanity's reckless treatment of the Earth. When the children returned to their classrooms, they shared their stories with teachers who dismissed them as overactive imaginations. But the children's agitation didn't subside. That evening, they recounted the experience to their parents, many of whom were alarmed by their consistency and conviction. Word of the incident spread quickly, eventually reaching local UFO investigator Cynthia Hind. Hind, editor of UFO Afra News and the African representative for the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, arrived at Ariel School within days. She interviewed the children in small groups and collected drawings they had made of what they saw. Many of these sketches depicted classic flying saucers, disc-like objects with domes and landing legs. Others included the humanoid figures with their unsettlingly large eyes. Hind was struck by the consistency of their narratives, despite the children's diverse cultural backgrounds. Her investigation also connected the Ariel School sighting to a broader context. 2 days before the incident, a meteor-like fireball had streaked across the night sky, visible across southern Africa. Astronomers identified it as the re-entry of the Zenit 2 rocket from the Cosmos 2290 satellite launch. While some attributed the fireball to a natural phenomenon, others saw it as a harbinger of the strange events in Rua. Local radio stations had been inundated with UFO reports in the days leading up to the school incident, contributing to a wave of UFO mania in the region. The story gained international attention when Dr. John Mack, a Harvard psychiatrist and Pulitzer Prize-winning author, traveled to Zimbabwe 2 months later. Mack had already built a controversial reputation for his research into alien abductions, which he believed were genuine experiences that challenged the boundaries of human understanding. Mack's interviews with the Ariel School children were videotaped, preserving their vivid recollections. In one, a girl described the being's eyes as evil, explaining that they seemed to convey an unsettling intent. Another child said the being's gaze communicated interest, as if they were being studied. When asked how the telepathic messages were conveyed, one student said, "It was just the eyes." The children's testimonies, Mack concluded, were sincere and consistent with other accounts he had documented around the world. But Mack's involvement also drew criticism. His methods, skeptics argued, were biased and unscientific. Mack's environmental activism and belief in alien visitations, they claimed, influenced his interpretation of the children's accounts. Moreover, he interviewed the children 2 months after the event, giving them ample time to discuss and possibly alter their stories. Critics also pointed out that the theme of an environmental warning, central to Mack's conclusions, didn't emerge until his interviews. Hind's earlier reports had made no mention of telepathic messages. Skeptics have offered alternative explanations for the Ariel School incident. One of the most prominent is mass hysteria, a psychological phenomenon in which a group of people experience shared delusions or anxieties. A study published in the Malawi Medical Journal noted that cases of mass hysteria are not uncommon in African schools, often triggered by stress or cultural factors. Another angle is the influence of the media. Zimbabwe's news outlets had extensively covered the Zenit 2 rocket re-entry, framing it as a UFO event. The Ariel School children, despite being described as rural Africans in some reports, were actually from well-off families with access to modern media. This exposure, skeptics argue, could have influenced their perceptions and shaped their accounts. Cynthia Hind's investigation also came under scrutiny. She interviewed the children in small groups, allowing others to listen in, a practice that could easily lead to cross-contamination of stories. While Hind emphasized the children's sincerity, critics argue that their shared narrative might have been a product of suggestive questioning and peer reinforcement. Despite the controversies and conflicting interpretations, the Ariel School UFO incident remains an enduring mystery. Some of the children, now adults, continue to stand by their accounts. Witnesses have spoken about the profound and lasting impact the event had on their lives. In one interview, a former student admitted to living in fear of the being's return, describing an uncanny ability to sense their presence. The case has also inspired documentaries, including Randall Nickerson's long-delayed film, which features interviews with former students and archival footage of John Mack's work. These efforts have reignited public interest, but they've also highlighted the emotional toll the incident has taken on those involved. As with many UFO cases, the truth about what happened at Ariel School is likely to remain elusive. The incident's timing, amid a regional UFO frenzy sparked by the rocket re-entry, provides fertile ground for skepticism. Yet the children's detailed and consistent accounts, coupled with their apparent emotional sincerity, leave room for wonder. Perhaps the most compelling aspect of the Ariel School case is its dual nature as both a cultural phenomenon and a deeply personal experience. For the children who lived through it, the event was transformative regardless of its origins. It thrust them into a world of scrutiny, disbelief, and intrigue, forever linking their childhoods to one of the most remarkable UFO stories of the 20th century. In the end, the Ariel School encounter challenges us to confront our assumptions about reality and the unknown. Whether it was a case of mass hysteria, a hoax, or a genuine encounter with something beyond our comprehension, it serves as a reminder of humanity's enduring fascination with the mysterious and the unexplained. As one former student reflected, "It's something I'll never forget. It's part of who I am now."